your leadership, and we appreciate you.
Alright, so all what I do is pass out a little exercise just for us to, it's called a workshop, and if I'm the only one doing the work, I don't know if we would be able to share anything. So, you guys may have seen something like this before. People may call it a puzzle.
Here, I can help you pass out. Sorry.
People may call it a maze. If you don't have a writing utensil, you could probably use your finger to trace. I'm not going to take it up. Some of the things that might happen when you do this is you might retrace your steps. You might pick a pencil instead of a pen. You might learn
Like I think
some tactics you'd never seen one of these before. You might hesitate at the beginning and think, what's the purpose? And if you did these as a child or a kid or an adolescent, you might be like, no big deal. I like to start from the back. When I get to a place where I have to make a decision, I put a little dot so that if I go one way and it didn't work out, I can go back to the dot and kind of go the other way. So my background, just as you're doing that, 20 years ago I got my MBA at Florida State. I joined the Eckerd Drug Corporation, which was a drug chain out of Largo, Florida at the time. I was a merchant, started as an analyst, worked my way into a senior buyer, associate category manager. Went to a bigger company, CVS Pharmacy, about 5 years into my first job, Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Never been to Rhode Island. Went up there as a bigger fish in a bigger pond, so to speak. Take a bigger job. I was category manager up there. I was there for almost 10 years. My last 7 years, I was in an area called store brands. Could be called private label, own brand, something along those lines. When I started, it was a department of about 4 people. When I left, it was a department of about 30 people. If you looked on the org chart today, they have about 100 people doing store brands, own brands, private label. Why? It's a profit maneuver. As the big brands like Procter & Gamble bring out the latest Gillette razor, and it costs more, and they charge more to the retailers. The margins thin, so the retailers try to sell some of their own products that might have store brand margins of 70 or 80%, and it allows that blended margin, allows them to keep opening stores and things of that sort.
There's a seat here or right there.
One of the nice things that I had the ability to do at CVS, in a big corporation, I didn't have to worry about funding. I just had to grow. That was my charge. Make mistakes, learn from them, keep moving. I got to launch about 3,500 new products the last 4 years, and got to build about maybe a dozen brands. So I got a lot of good experience on their dime. 6 years ago, I left CVS, moved back to Tallahassee. I decided to open a consulting business, a one-man shop. I had been in corporate America for 15 years. I thought I could help suppliers that I'd already developed a relationship with, about 150 different relationships maybe. Maybe I can help them sell into CVS, sell into Walmart, sell into Walgreens, things of that sort. Started doing that. In the process, formed a brand development company where we built some brands. A partner and I, who was a designer, we built some brands for other people. We built some brands for ourselves. Got 2 brands into Walmart. One in about 600 stores for about 6 months, and one in about 3,500 stores for about 1 year. We had good branding. Didn't necessarily have money for marketing and that sort, so we died on the vine. So we didn't make the money we thought we were going to. But lots of good experience from it. At the same time, about 4 years ago, I opened a clothing store in town called Southern Compass Outfitters. We got 2 stores, one over by Whole Foods, about 4 years old, one on Tennessee Street, about a year old. Why did we do that? Well, when I had lived in Tampa, I grew up in Nashville, lived in Rhode Island. When I moved back to Tallahassee, I didn't think there was any place to shop for myself. Luckily, I had a family member, sister-in-law, who had some background in retail as well. She followed us back to town, and together, the two of us opened the store. We wanted to design a store that we would like to shop in. And we were the target market. One thing that we're going to learn about, talk about in a minute, is you can have a plan, and then there's reality. Okay? And then you've got to respond to things. So lots of background in big retail and small retail, and that's where my perspectives will come from today. All right, so today's topics. You guys have a great opportunity to compete in this competition. You're all going to hopefully have product ideas and create a brand and try to sell something. Okay? There'll be a key question along the way of who's going to buy your stuff. Okay? Something you're going to have to focus on. We're going to try to describe or think about how to describe who's going to buy your items. Okay? We're also going to try to picture your brand. You may have it in your head, but as judges are sitting there listening to you describe your brand in a short amount of time, it may not come across to them as crystal clear as it is to you. So maybe you can create a picture in the process that you may share or you may not share, but at least it allows you to be able to picture your brand. We'll talk about naming, maybe protecting, maybe voicing once we have this name protection. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some effective messaging and maybe some best paths for you to consider. Okay? So, major topics here. You could probably have a whole class on just one of these. Okay? We only got an hour and a half together. We'll probably just speak an hour and have some questions. So they're going to go lean and try to jump right in on this topic. All right. First of all, you saw the maze that I gave you. I thought with it being, we're in the fall season, a couple of knee-jerk images come to mind. We just passed through Halloween. Now Thanksgiving's coming up. Anyone ever been in a corn maze before? It's probably not a lot in Tallahassee, but maybe from some other place. Okay, no different than the maze. You start in one spot and you try to end at another. We're in that corn maze. Is there any tactics we can try to use? We've done it before. I mean, it's kind of tall, it's kind of hard to see, but we can maybe peek around. We can maybe listen out and see if we hear some other people complaining about running into the wall or making some progress. Our path to market, no different than the maze that I gave you or this maze up here. We're going to go in one side and hopefully come out the other, and when we do, we're probably a little wiser. And if we do it again, we might do it faster and not make the same mistakes we made the first time. Okay? We might drop some breadcrumbs or something like that. The other image from the fall, and we've luckily hopefully passed it now, but we've had our fair share of these, is this hurricane image, right? One thing about a hurricane, it does spin, right, counterclockwise. Would we agree that probably the dark red is worse than the green or the yellow? Okay? So the storm gets a little stronger as it gets a little closer. Plus, as it hits its target customer, its target market, its target city, the first bands that hit, not as strong, and then the second bands that hit, a little stronger, things of that sort. Okay, so if you think about your thoughts as you go through this development process, okay, as we try to do things, as we think about things, we're going to iterate, we're going to have an idea, we maybe have a brand name, and we socialize it, we talk to people about it, maybe we get some feedback, maybe we change it, get it a little better, a little stronger as we go through, okay, as we talk to our customers. Okay. If we put the two images together, it looks ugly. We got this hurricane going through the maze as you go through. Okay, so a little bit of imagery for you. Think about this multiple paths through as we think about our projects. Okay. Who will buy our target market? We don't want to define it too broad. Our knee jerk is we want it to be really big, a lot of people, right? Bigger is better, right? Not necessarily on this. We want it to be a little bit more targeted. We need to be able to define it. We'll talk about next how we define a target market. It needs to be meaningful so that we can make enough money to be satisfied with our opportunity, and be able to reach out and pull in business. There's a secondary term called primary market, within the target market. It's a customer that needs the product the most, has the biggest pain point. As entrepreneurs, we have limited resources. We don't have enough money to do what we want. Okay? In a perfect world, we would do this and that. We don't have that perfect world. Okay? We have limited time, we have limited resources, we may even have limited talents. We've got to be efficient as we focus on who we're trying to sell to, and we need to keep that target customer, that primary market in play as much as we can. Okay? All right, so a little bit of a lot of stuff going on this slide about 7 different buckets here of how we could define this target market. We can think about their age, college student, 18 to 22. We can think about their income, over 100K. We can think about some men, some women, their occupation. Maybe we want to sell to accountants. Maybe that's who our target market is. Married, single, divorced, family size. They got 3 kids. They got no kids. Okay. Level of education, ownership. Do they own a home? Where are they in their family stage? What does that mean? It could be empty nesters. What does that mean? Their kids grew up and left, and now they're back just staring at each other. Luckily, I've got 3 kids, 17, 10, and 8. I'm a ways away from being an empty nester. Some days we say we can't wait to be empty nesters, but be careful what you ask for, right? Where do they go on vacation? How important is price to them? What about the return policy? Does that matter on your business? You know, someone's putting out a lot of money, they've never tried it before, okay? You have a drone business you come up with, you're gonna sell it online, someone gets it home, within 5 minutes, like the drone that I bought my daughter, it was in a tree, and it was upside down, and it was broken, and we only spent about 30 bucks on it, maybe 50. So is that what we expect from 30 or 50 bucks? If we spent 300 or 500, would it have not broken? I mean, within 5 seconds, the thing went way up and then went into a tree. Then it went on the roof. So, could I return it after it broke? Probably not. Could I have bought some insurance with it? Maybe. Will I buy another drone? Probably not. Okay? So if we're in the drone business and we realize that customers are gonna buy, try, break, get frustrated, not buy again, that can impact how we think about things. How do they spend their time? Do they go to the movies? Do they watch TV? What TV channels? Are they Netflix? Do they entertain at home? Do they have a nice backyard with a good grill and they invite the family over? As we go through all of these, and if you looked at the 7 buckets and each one has a bunch, maybe there's 100 things. We're going to pull out maybe 3 or 4 that matter. Okay? Those are the ones we're going to focus on. We don't need to answer all 100. We just need 3 or 4 good ones that really think about who we're selling to. And that's the mindset we have to have in everything we do. In our branding, in our pricing, in our marketing, our communication to them, we have to think about this married couple with 3 kids that has no time to do X, Y, and Z, and we need to understand them better than anybody else because we're trying to get money from them for our products. All right, so that's the target market piece. Like I said, we went fast into that. Any questions? We can take questions. Any questions about this stuff? Picture your brand. A lot of times it's called a mood board. A lot of times a mood board might be used if you were maybe in a design company or building a brand. I don't see it in a lot of books that for entrepreneurs. It's something that I kind of started focusing in on some of my classes because when we opened our store, our retail store, my sister-in-law said, shoot, she's like, I'm going to create this mood board. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And we were starting to think about our fixtures and our signage and our logo and what brand. She's like, no, we can't do any of this. I gotta do this mood board first. I was like, well, come on, hurry up, do the mood board. Finally, she did. She got a bunch of magazines, she cut them out, she put them on the poster board. And, you know, I was a little skeptical in the beginning of like, this is really important that we need this mood board. What was interesting on it is she had thought about who was going to shop our store, what brands they bought, what brands we may be able to acquire and sell to them, the other brands they had in their, maybe in their, at home or they were using along with. It was a picture, a group of pictures, words, products that represented maybe what we liked, the feel of the store, and how we wanted to be viewed. Okay? Again, we can start out with this mood board in the beginning. We haven't sold, we haven't made too many mistakes yet. We can describe what we're going to be. Then we open, people start shopping, and we find out if we were right or wrong or how close we were, and then we can decide whether we're going to stay like we are and go out of business because it's not working, or we can evolve to who actually is appreciating what we're doing. In this picture, and again, you may have something in your head, but the judges may not. Here's a professional off Google. Okay. Forever 21s. Anyone ever shop Forever 21? Okay, it's at the mall, at least for a few more days. But the mall's still there. A grouping of pictures and words. So let's look at the words. Convenient, girly, affordable, edgy, quirky, trendy, cute. Then we look at some pictures of maybe their target customer. They've got the one in the middle and the two mini skirts, right, with the long socks. You got some jewelry over there. The jewelry is probably not going to last very long. You know, it's probably cosmetic jewelry. It's probably affordable jewelry. Maybe it's got some quirkiness to it. You see this, I don't know if this is a ring or a purse or something, but it kind of looks like an owl. Right? You also got the word lovely. Got some bright colors, yellow. It's trimmed in black leather. Okay. If I didn't have this word here, I just ask you to look at that and say, how does it make you feel? What kind of store do you think this is? You might get to something like Forever 21. Not only did they do a good job of representing that they're selling stuff and selling stuff to young people, and they got a good variety. We'll talk about naming it a little bit. Talk about descriptive branding. Just the name Forever 21 kind of lets you know that it's not for probably 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. Okay? But Forever 21 means, you know, I'm 25 and I maybe still want to be 21 when life was good and easy. Maybe at 21, life may not seem good and easy, but when you're 25 or 28, you might say, wow, life at 21 was good and easy. Okay? Even if I'm 14 or 15, is it common that when you're in high school, you look above, when you're in middle school, you look above, and then as soon as you get out of college, you look back? Okay? So this sweet spot between 18 to 21 or 18 to 22, a lot of customers, a lot of consumers look in both directions here. So this Forever 21, they're reminding 14-year-olds that if you come shop us, you could be like you're 21. And if you're 25, you can come shop us and you can be like you're 21. Because you're Forever 21. So that's a real live business. There's somebody that was in a class, did a project, wanted to do a coffee shop. Or some of their words. Coffee, right? Craft beer in one corner, coffee in the other. Does that mean that they're probably going to stay open later than 3 p.m.? Probably. Maybe it's an all-day thing. Maybe they open at like 7, maybe they close at 10. Third space, what does that let you know? Maybe you got home, you got work, maybe you got this third space. And for you guys, you got dorm, apartment, resident home, whatever. You got classrooms or library, and maybe you you got a third space, you hang out. Local, maybe I'm gonna have local beers, craft beer, local craft beers. Maybe I'm gonna have local coffee. Maybe I'm gonna focus on the people that are around the store. I'm gonna put up flyers in my window that advertise the local play that's going on at the high school or college. I'm gonna hire people that live close by, maybe, in the neighborhood. What's this mature tell us? My wife and I would argue with this. She says mature, I say mature. Dictionary says it's either. I think she's right. Something I hold on to.
Maybe like more educated environment.
Yeah, let's look at the pictures they chose. I mean, muffins, that's not a donut, that's a muffin. Muffins cost more than donuts. Muffins are probably harder to make, for sure. The neon sign, it's not in red or yellow or orange, it's in white. A little bit classier, it's neon still, right? Looks like people are, there's some backpacks. It's clean. I don't know what style you would say. It almost looks like mission style furniture maybe. Nice and clean lines. It looks like a cool place. I think I'd like to go there. As long as the coffee tastes fine, right? Served hot. Nothing's not. It's okay. No one, someone just like yourself, create that for their coffee shop. Do a nice job. You know. Gather, recycle, separate, repurpose. This was a student last semester, an advocate of their leisure fun, probably had to do with being outside shooting guns. Maybe they own several guns. Maybe they have access to the remnants of what happens when you shoot a gun. Shotgun breaks some parts. I'm not crazy. I don't know a lot about guns, but I have seen an empty shell. I do know what it looks like. And in our store, we've seen a few people take some stuff and make some jewelry out of it. This was more than just jewelry. This person had an idea and did some pretty creative stuff. This is a bench with a bunch of old shells. They collected they gathered them. Guess what? They were old. They were used. Think they had to pay for them? They may have gotten it for free. Pretty good business situation. I get my things for free, and then I can separate them, and I can repurpose them, and then I can sell you this bench, or the jewelry, or the ring, for things that didn't cost me anything but time and effort. If you're an entrepreneur, is that a pretty good idea to be able to acquire things without having to pay too much? You got time, you're not selling anything yet, so you got plenty of time to work and repurpose. Now, if I said to you, there's a product idea, I said to you, there's a product idea of going out to a range and getting some used shotgun shells and then making them into jewelry, things of that sort, and a bench, and maybe a clock and a ring, something like that. You'd be sitting there and you think, so, not that interesting. I show you this picture, like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't even really shoot these guns, but I could have an American flag with some guns somewhere. I don't have any place to hang it. I don't think my wife would let it go. The picture that this person had in their head, okay, was in their head. It wasn't in our heads. Okay? This mood board helped frame your concept. Now, whether this gets, when you create your own, if you do decide to create one, whether it gets in front of a judge or an investor or whatever, who knows? But if it did, it might help someone understand what you're thinking about, who your target is, what your value proposition might be. Okay? All right. Second topic down, moving on. Name, protect, and voice. It's unfair. Parents get to name children, right? Children don't have any say in it. They just, when they're about 4 or 5, they start to hear it and remember it. And when they're 10 or 12, someone says, "Why are you named that?" They have no clue. When they're 20 or 25, do they turn back to their parents and say, "Why would you name me that? What were you thinking?" You don't. I've never done it. You just like, "This is my name. It's what it is." You know, I'm going to assume that you thought about it the right way, and if you don't think they thought about it the right way, if you ever have your own children, maybe you will think about it differently. And maybe you will even say to your children, "I gave you this name because I don't think my parents thought about the name they gave me, and so I gave you the benefit of having some thought." Just a name, right? No, it's not just a name. It identifies us. Whether we're a person or a product, we're stuck with it. It can mean the difference between how we're viewed from our target market. Should we hopefully make it easy to say and spell? One of the things that when I opened my brand development business, we called it Great Divide. It's pretty easy, Great Divide. It was formed by myself, last name Lewis, and my colleague, last name Clark, Lewis and Clark. Started the Great Divide. Right? We were a branding company. We're like, you know what? If we're going to be a branding company, we kind of have to have a nifty name, Great Divide. We'll talk later, but at the time, I could not get GreatDivide.com. Wasn't available on GoDaddy or anything. I got GreatDivide.co. This was about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, before .co was fine, maybe okay. It was probably never okay. And people would say, "Well, what's your website?" I'd say GreatDivide.co. And they'd say, "What? .com? No, .co. What's your email? Lanny@GreatDivide.com? No, .co. From day one to day whatever, I wished it wasn't .com. Now, just 2 days ago, I got an email from GoDaddy that said .com was available, GreatDivide.com was available as a premium name. I don't know what I'd have to pay, maybe about $5,000. I'm not doing that business anymore, so it doesn't matter to me. Man, 5 years ago, would I envision spending too much money to get the .com? I probably would not have, but if I was going to do it again today, I probably would, because I don't have the problem of someone saying .com. No. One of the things when we opened our store, Southern Compass Outfitters, I actually pretended to the phone. "Southern Compass Outfitters, how may I help you?" I could say, and now for the first year, people would come in, they'd be on their phone. "Oh, I'm at Southern Comfort." I know it's an alcohol brand, right? It's a whiskey or bourbon or something like that. So I didn't try to correct them. And then sometimes they'd say one of my competitors' names. They didn't know we were new. Who knew we would have any impact on the consumer? We now have luckily got to the stage where people do know who we are and do say Southern Compass when they're in there, but I thought about how it sounded when I was naming it because I knew people would be saying it. I knew I'd have to say it. I just lived through the .co problem with the Great Divide. I wanted to make sure I didn't have that thing happen again. I wanted it to be easy to spell, easy to say, extendable, has room for growth. What does that mean? I didn't name my retail store Tallahassee Outfitters. I named it Tallahassee Outfitters, and we decided to open a store in Gainesville, Florida, or didn't really fit that well. Named it Southern Compass Outfitters because we were selling products that were kind of coastal, right? Preppy. Some of the brands had fish in them, or whales, or tarpons, or whatever. Figured one day, maybe, we opened a dozen stores, and we got them scattered throughout the southeast. around the coast? Does our name Southern Compass fit in 10 years if we got 12 stores scattered? Would our name have fit if it was Tallahassee Outfitters 10 years from now, scattered throughout the coast? Be in Charleston, South Carolina, I was like, why is there a Tallahassee store here? Where is Tallahassee? Some kind of positive feeling? Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, now that you get into that. So how would that relate to industrial companies? For example, you say when you're talking about Forever 21, you say how does it make you feel, right? The positive feeling. And then we talking about big industry and like I guess factories. How would that relate to their name? Like I don't
Well,
think
let's just throw some knee-jerk. Granger is a wholesaler that sells all kinds of kind of industrial products, maybe for factories and things of that sort. Okay. Pretty memorable word, right? Granger, strong, masculine, memorable, maybe. Even something like BASF, if you do some cool commercials where you got surfboards and skateboards and they say, we don't create the surfboard, or we don't create the skateboard, we just make it go faster. BASF. You know, so you can work with different industries to be, and we'll talk about some name options in a little bit and make it a little easier. But the extendable piece is important. Okay? Let's take something like in the store brand days. It's a little tougher to take something like Tylenol, okay, which becomes pretty unique to its use, and put it into other categories. One of the things we felt like at CVS, when we had CVS brand, was we were the name of the store. So we could be experts in the cold aisle and the allergy aisle and the first aid aisle and maybe the baby aisle. We needed some medicine for the baby. But we didn't think we could be experts in all the stores. There were issues. We were nervous about razor blades. We knew the technology wasn't as good as Gillette or Schick. We would debate about, we did a version of compared to Axe, and we knew we couldn't say CVS brand compared to Axe because the target customer, 15-year-old kid, didn't want CVS brand, they wanted Axe. Right? And mom might buy the CVS version, bring it home, and the kid just, the guy, moves it along. Okay, so we created what we call tribute brands in that environment where they, and we'll talk about a little bit about drafting off an existing brand, but being able to extend a brand is important for your future. Okay, you may be thinking about one item now, two items now, but let's say this thing works. I want to sell this, and maybe the person that might buy my brand may have the money to blow it out. We need a name that they can do that with. Okay? Let's make sure it doesn't translate improperly, embarrass us. It needs to be available. We'll talk about that in a few slides. And it needs to have some relevance to our business. Okay? Would we say that Forever 21 had some relevance to their business? It did. It had some sense. All right, so here's some, put a lot on this slide. Okay? One side we got generic, like cars.com, hotels.com. The other side we got brands that I don't even know if they exist anymore, Kodak and Xerox. They've kind of evolved the wrong way, but at one time they were really big brands. Descriptive, suggestive, arbitrary. My favorite ones to consider are descriptive and suggestive. Why? Because it costs us a lot less money to talk about, to explain them. Let's say we start flat rate moving. Okay? We pick up the phone. Flat rate moving, how can I help you? Yeah, I need to move my apartment. I got a 2-bedroom. How much, how do you guys charge? Oh, we're flat rate. Just one price. Yeah, but I got 2 bedrooms, and I got a sofa, and I got an expensive TV. No. There's no packing, there's no hourly, there's not a minimum of a couple, the truck. No, it's flat rate. It's $500, done, whatever you got. I go home, talk to my wife. Did you call the moving company? Did you get it booked? I did. Who'd you call? flat rate movie. Well, what's it gonna cost? Well, it's gonna cost $500. Well, what about the extra bedroom and the heavy TV and it's one price, flat rate. Flat rate. Yeah, but I don't trust that. That's what they said. They come and they move you. At the end, say good job, thank you. Everything seems unbroken. Oh, 500. Oh yeah, you did say it was gonna be 500. Yeah, just one price, flat rate. That's good. If I needed to move again, did I trust that the price was what they said it was? Do I need to see, a bunch of advertising about how they charge or what they do? No, it's kind of pretty simple. If I need to lose a few, go to the drugstore, the diet aisle, get some bars or some drinks called Slim Fast. Am I hoping that I'm going to slim up pretty fast? I think so. So their branding helps. They don't have to kind of say what we are, or these arbitrary fanciful names. They don't have to say what we're into, what we're doing. Just right, straightforward. Let's talk about Amazon for a second. Suggested name. 5, 10 years ago, heard about Amazon? We know it's what? 4th largest river in the world. I think it's really wide. Maybe it's second. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's top. It's in the top 4. It's pretty wide. I've never seen it. Don't really want to. It's got a lot of wildlife. Told you I don't have any guns, so I don't have anything to shoot. I can't shoot wildlife. Amazon at the time. What were they doing 5 years ago? Selling some books. Okay. Amazon, biggest river in the world, maybe widest river in the world. They're selling books. Does their brand name make any sense? I think they got all the books. They got any book you need, so that's how it makes sense. Very wide river, very wide selection of books. We didn't know what they do. Right? We didn't know that the river analogy was more maybe about a distribution path, from one place to the next. We didn't know that the biggest, widest river in the world meant maybe the biggest, widest assortment of anything in the world. Right now, you look at that name like, wow, that was a cool name. They did a good job. At the time, we didn't know it. Were they thinking about some positive extendable ability for their name? They were. Right? Nowadays, do they spend any in marketing? Probably not. Right? So these descriptive names, they relate directly to the product. They help describe the product. They may give a benefit, or it could be our name if we decide to do something in our own name. Another example is General Motors. Do we think they're in the car automobile business? We do. British Petroleum, were they selling something made out of petroleum? They are. The Body Shop, do we think they're selling stuff that could be used on the body? I don't think they still exist. At one time they did. They had models in the window. And then Disney's name, where you just use his name, right? Now it's like, it's Disney. But in the beginning it was, who's this Disney guy? My recommendation to you, you're creating a brand name. Think about on that side where you don't have a lot of money, you don't have to spend a lot of money describing your brand because you don't have a lot of money. Okay? Create a name no one's heard of, you better have some money to be able to explain. Talk about a concept called drafting. We got any NASCAR fans in the group? Anyone ever been to a NASCAR race? Never been to one, but I've heard if you go, it's pretty cool. People like it. You just kind of watch it go around, right? And then they have too many wrecks, and it gets boring in the yellow. I know that there's a lot of people putting names all over the cars. We're not worried about that. That is some messaging, and they're paying us big money to do that. Concept called drafting. The lead car has a bunch of cars following it. I mean, and they're super tight. And then if you looked at this, you could even explain all this drafting stuff. It's pretty technical. The easy part to describe it is the first car is cutting through the wind. It has a lot of friction from the wind hitting it going at 180. They used to go about 200. I think now they go about 180. The first car doesn't get as good a gas mileage as the second car. First car has to make more pit stops than the second car. They probably make the same amount, but the first car has to make a pit stop before the second car. Plus, there's some sort of energy thing going on that at the end of the race, the second car can somehow like slingshot around the first car a lot of times and win the race. The best place to be, fortunately, is looking into the bumper of the first car. Now, it's pretty nervous. I would be pretty nervous if I was the second car. Like, what if this first car hits the brakes and I don't recognize the brake lights? I don't think they have brake lights. I don't know, do they? They should. If I was out there, I should be some brake lights. But even if there were brake lights, what are we going to do about it? First car hits the brakes, second car doesn't have anything to do. They've got less friction against them. They're going to plow into the back of them. The point here is that when we think about drafting in a branding environment, we were able to gain traction with consumers with similarities from established products and brands. When we did our version of Axe at CVS, we called it Blade. We actually got sued by InNOLEvation because a lot of customers thought it was made by the same brand. Axe and Blade got the same name. Guess what? Our packaging was black. Axe's packaging was black. We knew if we made it some other color, they would think it would be from some other people. And we wanted them to think it was from the real company. Now, when we talk about trademarking in a little bit, we got to have some differences. It can't be dead on. I mean, usually, my experience when I dealt with the attorney, the trademark attorney at CVS for a lot of problems, of the three things of a product, you can do two of them. You can't do all three. So you can pick out of the three things what you're not going to emulate or draft on. You can do zero of the three and not be successful. You can do one of the three and be a little successful. Or if you wanted to take advantage of the work that's been done, the money that's been spent, you can do maybe two of the same. It could be a name, it could be package type. Coors Light did the Blue Mountains, pretty cool. Bud Light had the wider top, pretty cool, made sense. I mean, I don't see other people doing mountains because the brands don't make sense, but could they do some color change on the can? Maybe, I don't know, maybe they got some compact, that's it, but people did a wider one, other people do wider ones. Coca-Cola did the skinny cans, other people do the skinny cans. They did, they do. Flavor, someone does cherry flavor. Look at, we had an interesting scenario, you won't think it's interesting, but I think it's interesting. CVS Pepto-Bismol, pretty big product. It's a general laxative antacid, oil antacid. Called a generalist. Helps a lot. Helps heartburn, helps if you're queasy, motion sickness. So there was regular flavor, there was cherry flavor. They were both good. We saw in other categories that there were more flavors than just two. And we thought, well, if regular is good and cherry is good, why wouldn't another flavor be good? So we tried to think about what would that other flavor be? What would be the next flavor of Pepto-Bismol people would be open to? We looked at other businesses close by, cough, cold medicine. We saw Dimetapp. Dimetapp's number one flavor was grape. Wow, what if we did a Pepto-Bismol grape? We thought people would like it. When we were in the process of developing it, the manufacturer called one day and said, okay, I'm working on your Pepto-Bismol grape. It tastes great. We love this item. We think it's going to be good for you guys. What color should it be? Should it be pink or purple? The original Pepto was right, pink. Even the cherry was pink. So we had a decision to make. Do we go off color and make it purple because it's great? Or do we keep it pink and just say grape on it? Because that's what they did with cherry. They didn't make cherry red, they kept it pink. Interesting question to have. P&G owns Pepto-Bismol. P&G is the biggest branding company in the world, or consumer company. CVS just, whatever, drugstore. we were getting in front of the biggest company in the world in this product segment. Because we could, we had scale. We decided to do pink, did fine, we had it on the shelf for 2 years. A year later, Walgreens launches. Walgreens brand, great. Walgreens drafted off of our success at CVS. We drafted off of the Bismol success, we cherried them pink. And purpose. Okay. Any questions about brand drafting? Real important. When you think about your brand, your package, your color, your logos, things of that sort, your packaging, we take advantage of something that's in the marketplace so that we save on advertising, marketing expenses, so the customer kind of knows what it is, understands it. Here's a good example of some drafting. You guys like coolers? I didn't really understand them until we got in business. We sell some Yeti coolers. They're pretty expensive. They're pretty cool, I guess. Pretty expensive though. Founded in 2006, a couple guys out of Austin, Texas. They developed the product. I think they were fishermen or anglers or whatever. They would just go out and fish and catch the fish on the boat. They needed to put it on something before they got back so the fish would stay cold and icy and whatever. I think that was the inspiration around it. They created this new segment of coolers, super premium. Okay, before we had the styrofoam ones, we had the igloo ones, then there was really nothing else except Yeti, which was like way over there price-wise. I could go to the gas station and buy the styrofoam ones for $3. I could go to Walmart and buy the igloo for $15. They created one, this is the small one, $2.49, way down the road on retail. Is it worth it? Probably not. It is cool, it's good, pretty heavy. Their brand name they called Yeti, which means a large hairy creature resembling a human or bear lives in the highest part of the Himalayas. Okay? They use the bear as part of their kind of branding. They call it bear proof on some of their stuff. They even took a Jeep Wrangler and they put it on 4.0. It's pretty cool. I don't know how they did that. I almost think they could crane to lift it, or maybe you can drive up on it, but I would think if you tried to drive up on it, it'd kind of push them out. But anyway, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. If you saw it, maybe you hadn't seen this picture before, of it on a Jeep Wrangler. You see that, it would make you want to maybe go buy one of these and spend, in the old days, $249. 2011, another couple guys probably were pissed off about having to pay $249 for a cooler. They decided to create a brand called K2. K2 is the highest point in the Karakoram range. I'm going to say that. It's in Asia, Pakistan. Is it coincidence that Himalayas, I think, are in Asia? Maybe. And Pakistan is, I think, in Asia. Both in Asia. They're both named somewhat about high up in the mountains. I mean, the Yeti lives there, and the K2 is called there, or is there. From a product development standpoint, they got to see what the roadie looks like, and I don't know if anyone's ever tried to lift one of those. It's super heavy. Gotta be pretty strong to lift that, especially if it's loaded down. It doesn't load much, but it's loaded down. $249 for the roadie 20. These guys came out and said it's ridiculous that they're asking for $249. We're going to make one just like it. We're going to make it better, maybe. We're going to put this strap with a little pad because we know how heavy it is, so it's going to be good for your shoulder. We're only going to charge $159 for ours. Again, the Yeti probably cost them, I don't know, $20, $30 to make, maybe. They're selling it for $249. The K2 probably cost them $20, $30 to make. They're selling it for $159. How come it only costs $20 or $30 and they sell it for $249 or $159? Because they can. Because customers will buy it. Okay. So what it costs and what you sell it for has nothing to do with each other. What it costs is what it costs, and what you sell it for is what you can sell it for. These guys come out a few years back. $159. You think Yeti noticed? Probably in the beginning. They probably told their customers, oh, this guy's just knocking us off. I wouldn't trust him. no warranty. People have been complaining about it, it leaks, that strap breaks, you can say those kinds of things. You know what says something to me? The Yeti Roadie is no longer $249. $199. Didn't change. They didn't like strip anything out. They didn't like make it smaller. They just cut the price by $50. Why? We had to. These guys are probably doing some pretty good business. Do we think these K2 guys, they smart? They smarter than the Yeti guys? Not really. Probably not. Probably less smart. But they saw something. They said, you know what? We're going to piggyback off what they did. We're going to draft off their expertise, all the investment they've made about creating this super premium segment for coolers. We're going to offer this K2 that's a little cheaper. All right, so when we think about protecting trademarks, okay, this is the thing you guys will need to think about, okay? Of the 4 things that you can get intellectual properties on, main things, right? Patent, it's not easy to get patents. A lot of things already been done, so expensive. And again, they're only worth it if you're going to use it, it's going to work, and those kinds of things. Copyright, are we going to write any code or songs or, I don't know, maybe not. I mean, if we do, we can protect them easily. We can protect copyright easily. Someone messes with our copyright, we'll win. Okay? Someone messes with our trademark, it's debatable. It's about confusion. It has to go to a jury. Rarely ever goes. Usually someone settles. Says, you know what, I'll change it. Just back off, I'll change it. Okay? The other thing, trade secret, are we going to create anything? We're going to create a trade secret like Coca-Cola formula or KFC's mix or Twinkies. We're going to make any Twinkies and have like 49 ingredients that we need to know about. Probably not. Trademarks we're going to do. We're all going to need to think about these trademarks. A logo, a symbol, a word, a sound, a color, a design. Okay, we're all comfortable with the logo of FedEx, right? It's protected. See this circle R? That means it's been registered. That means you got all the way through the process and it worked. You can protect it. Someone else tries to do something with FedEx, use that logo, we can stop them. Send them a letter. If they cause damage to our business, we might be able to get some repercussions for that. We could create a slogan, L'Oreal Paris, because you're worth it. We think that slogan, because you're worth it, speaks to maybe like premiums, because you're worth it. You make you think about maybe pampering, willing to pay for something maybe a little bit more because it does something nice for you, because you're worth it. If you're worth it, you think the stuff you're using is worth it, helps you charge maybe a little bit more. We got a container shape, this Coca-Cola bottle. You try to emulate that, they might get you in trouble. Now, I mean, they don't have the market on bottles, but maybe that kind of concave with the ridges and things of that sort. I think when we look at a Pepsi bottle, I don't think they look like that. I think they're more smooth. What about color? Said we could trademark color. That doesn't make sense to me. Only if it's non-functional. What is non-functional? Let's think about this Tiffany's blue box. If you're a female and you call home, say, Mom, I just got a little blue box. What does Mom think? Wow, you must really love me. You got a little blue box. If you're the guy and you call home to Mom, hey Mom, I just gave a little blue box. What's she gonna say? What the hell are you doing? She's not worth a blue box. You overpaid. I hope she appreciates how you think about it. Now, the thing that's in the box, did it have to be blue box? I mean, could the ring have been just as nice if it was in a yellow box, or a green box, or a brown box? Well, we're shaking our head, no, it's not as nice because we've been influenced. But before Tiffany's existed, we would say, color of the box doesn't matter. It's what's inside the box that matters. That's why the color of the box is called non-functional. It doesn't matter what the color is. Tiffany's chose this hue of blue, and they poured all their investments and energy into it. Because they did that, and the color did not matter, it was non-functional, they were able to trademark it. Now they own that color. And now if you mess with that color, you're in trouble. Same thing with the insulation. Insulation could have been white, could have been yellow. Corning at the time decided to make it pink. Got the Pink Panther, they had all these commercials, all that stuff. The pink was not functional. The insulation could have been any color. They were able to get a trademark. Let's go to John Deere. John Deere was not able to get a trademark for grain. Why? They build tractors. What do tractors do? They cut grass. What color is grass? Green. So green is considered a functional color with respect to tractors. Now, John Deere, great brand, they can still have green on their packaging, green on their, they just can't keep other people from using green. And maybe if you're the other people, you don't want to use green anyway because they may think that you're copying John Deere, but maybe you do want to use green because John Deere is so good. Okay. So we can trademark color if it's not. All right. This is a little bit of an eye chart. If we wanted to trademark, we're going to go to this website called uspto.gov. Okay. We're going to go to this trademark electronic search system called the TESS system, TESS. When we click on that one, we're going to get this little screen. We're going to get some search options. We're going to click on the basic word search. This is what it looks like. We're going to type in some name. I was really struggling a couple hours ago trying to figure out what name to type in for you guys to take a look at. So now I got on the name grab bag. Why would anyway, I thought, let's just see what, if I type in the word grab bag, let's see what comes up. 48 things come up. Lots of people try to trademark grab bag. We look over here, we see some things say live, some things say dead. Live means it's real, dead means it's not. Okay. Even though there's multiple things that say live, how is that? Because it's by category. So like think of the brand name Monster. We've got a drink called Monster, we've got a job place where you can get the jobs called Monster. We also have some headphones called Monster. They're not very good anymore. They exist at one point. How come you have Monster in 3 different categories? Because they're different categories. It's by category. If you're Monster energy drinks, you think anything that's a drink can ever be called Monster? No, you can't. As long as Monster energy drinks exist and they keep paying their filing fee once a year, no one can ever have a drink called Monster. Okay? Or if they try, the real people will get you on that. Okay? Why are all these dead? Thing. Because they probably tried and they had to abandon. If you click on it, probably say abandoned. Because the ones that are alive kept on from getting trademarked. But you can see a lot of people see that. See, you know, the grab back and say, what if I put the in front of it? It's about confusion. What if I misspell it? Maybe. Spell it some weird way with our rearrange the words? Maybe. So how do you know? You've got to get help. You've got to find a trademark attorney. And you got to, if you do this research first, you say, oh, we can't have grab bag. Let's try something else. Let's say we find something that nothing's there or not much is there. We reach out to a trademark attorney and we say, can you write us an opinion? Can you do an opinion letter for us? It costs about 1 hour of their time, depending on what they charge. It could be $150. Of course, you guys got a law clinic, so it's probably free. Maybe in the real world, if outside of here, you needed an opinion letter, you get like an hour of attorney's time, and the attorney comes back, they do the research you did, but they're a little better in doing it. And they come back and they may say, moderately likely, somewhat likely, unlikely. That could be the choices. If it's moderately likely, that's good. Say, okay, let's go. I want this trademark. Let's go for it. Cost in the real world, $35,000 per name. Probably go through the whole process. Takes about a year. You got to sell it in the marketplace for it to qualify. You got to get it all the way to the market and sell it. If it comes back unlikely, we need to change the name. Don't waste the $35,000 trying to get a trademark on something that's not going to work. And that's why we go see a trademark attorney that knows what to do. Save us that money. So it's money on the front side that we'll eventually get out of. Okay? All right. Our voice. Okay. 10 years ago, this probably would have been our voice. The way we talk to people. Now it is. 10 years from now, it'll be different than what's here. Okay. But we need a website. Okay. Go to GoDaddy or someplace else. Type in grab bag, they say sorry, it's taken. They tell you all these others, don't get those. Just get the .coms. That's all that matters. Get anything else, someone will never find you. They won't understand. Why aren't you .com? Okay. We got to be able to get some Facebook thing that's reasonably close, maybe. Some Instagram thing that's reasonably close. Some Twitter thing that's reasonably close. If we can't get, we can't get a trademark, or let's say we can get a trademark, but we can't get a website, I mean, we could say we could add some extra words to it, maybe. We want some sort of comprehensive, tightly, closely ability to communicate consistently. Our social media, our digital, picking up the phone, all that stuff, and be able to. All right, effective messaging. Best path, bundle of intangible benefits, providing to its customers to reflect its core values. And that's what we're doing about marketing. Maybe we create a branding statement that helps explain, hey, we got the mood board, but maybe we put together something that has a group of like-minded people, basically our target market, reference point, kind of the business that we're in, and our promise, why we exist. Let me give you 2 examples. To family-oriented adult car owners concerned with safety, Michelin tires are your premium tires that provide greater peace of mind. Okay. So, we're selling tires. We're trying to sell to family-oriented customers. Okay. We don't want just single people. We want families, mom and dad with the kids in the back, concerned about safety. Does anywhere in that statement are we saying we're value priced? Is anywhere in that statement do we say we're competitive priced? We don't talk anything about pricing. We talk about peace of mind and we talk about safety. And those 2 things are expensive. So we don't apologize for being the highest priced tire. We just want to make you sleep through the night. I want you to be restful. Again, we're talking about price. We're not. They're pretty expensive. There's some people cheaper. Yes?
The reference point is the brand itself.
The reference point is the area you're in. So like the cold sleep segment or the tire business.
The line of business.
Yeah, line of business. Sure. Okay. It's pretty simple. 2 words. You put it on a title slide. You put it on your marketing slides. You frame up your business. Someone gets a sense of, okay, that's what they stand for. All right, we got some tactics. We wanted to try to create this, get out this message. We got a pull and a push. Pull is where we talk about the benefits. Push is where we cut the price. Give them a deal. Let's think about brand loyalty. Let's say I'm a Lexus owner, not. Let's say I was. I've had 3 Lexuses in a row. Very loyal to this brand. They call me, there's not even one in town, there's one in Jacksonville. They call me from Jacksonville and say, hey, we just got the new model in, and we're gonna offer you $500 off. Well, that's nice. It's an $85,000 car, you're gonna give me $500, it's gonna cost me $500 to just get over there, take off work and all that stuff. So keep your $500. I don't care. What if they called and said that the steering wheel now has, you can take your heart rate and blood pressure from putting your hands on the steering. So you'll know if you're about to have that heart attack while you're driving. You can just drive the emergency room. If I'm 65 and I'm worried about dying one day, I might care about that. Tell me some more about this steering wheel that's going to save my life. It's worth I think my life's worth $85,000. I'll buy this car just so I don't die and driving down the road. I know 30 seconds before I'm about to die, and I can go to the emergency room and I'll be okay. So, average advertising is gonna be effective. Again, what if I need a lot of information? $500 is gonna be important. I don't understand the product. $10 coupon, $5 coupon. You don't even know what they're talking about. It's not. Let's talk about price sensitivity. Anyone ever been to Dollar Tree? Love Dollar Tree. Love talking about Dollar Tree. You know, they don't even put price tags on the shelves. I mean, I've worked 15 years and we cared a lot about what the price was and what the shelf tag was, and we spent a lot of money to change the price and have people put the prices. They don't even put a price on it. The other thing that's crazy about Dollar Tree, everything's a buck. They don't have two sizes of anything. Like at CVS, we had a 20 count, 40 count, 80 count, 150 count, 200 count, 250 count, 365 count, and like all these counts. Dollar Tree, they'd never do that. Why? Because the 20 count would be a buck, 40 count would be a buck, 80 count would be a buck, 365 would be a buck. They'd just be giving away pills they didn't have to give away. So they only have to have one of anything. It's kind of crazy. If Dollar Tree, I mean, their whole thing is about price. They don't need to talk about how they got widened aisles, they got nice carpet, you know, they got cold whatever. They don't need to tell you that stuff. It's just a buck. You buy 5 things, $5. What's that? I love to take my kids there because they just want to buy something. I know that they each get 2 things, and I can get my own good Diet Coke. You know, $5. They get 2 things each. I get a Diet Coke, $5. Didn't have to go someplace else where they want something that costs $30 or $20 or $15. So depending on your business, this is something to think about down the road. When it comes time to talking about how to communicate, think about where your business is, what industry you're in, if there's loyalty, if there's the life cycle, okay? Again, if I'm in a declining life cycle, I gotta cut the price. People aren't willing to pay for regular price. If I'm in a growth, people can't get their hands on it, they'll pay it. If I'm brand new, I gotta cut the price. Why? Because they don't know about it. It comes back to the information. They don't know. I gotta spend some energy communicating why they should have this thing. Okay, last slide. Once we decide what to do, we need to put it all down on a plan, 12 months out, different categories with broadcast, print, physical, digital, events, sampling, sum it all up. Okay, I covered up all the empty cells with some pictures, things that are pretty cool, pretty cheap from an entrepreneurial perspective. I buy this sign, $100. Get it at Alibaba, maybe even cheaper, maybe $50 from Alibaba. You go to a sign company and get it maybe a little bit more. I can write anything I want on it and change it all the time. Orange Theory, I can go get some beat up bikes that are abandoned at some resident halls or apartment complexes every time the students leave. I get a can of spray paint, I paint them orange. I can stick them outside my business. If anybody takes them, I don't care. I got them for free. If I'm doing a health fair, I can lug that broken bike with me, put it out by the door, and someone says, "Oh, Orange Theory's here. Maybe go talk to those guys." Anyone ever been in Orange Theory? It seems pretty scary. I'm nervous. My wife did it once and she didn't go back, so I'm afraid I can't handle it. I got you. I was nervous about that. How about this? This is called ambient. Last picture here. You can tell it's not in the U.S. because it's too smart. And you can see that the tagline says "Always First." FedEx doesn't use "Always First" in the U.S. I don't know where they use it. When they ordered the truck, believe it or not, this is like the same truck. But they took the back half of the truck and took the DLH looking truck and painted on the back half. And they say "Always First," and they're basically telling you that they beat DHL all the time. They're always first. Now, when they ordered that truck, they had to have it painted, right? It comes when you pay the price, it gets painted for you. You buy a car, painted. You think they paid any more to have the back of it with some yellow paint versus the white paint? Maybe a little bit, not a lot. If you were at the stoplight, you see that truck every time, you're like, man, they really screwed the HO. It's not even fair. Always first. Got this geo-fencing now. You know, I'm like at the street light, Starbucks is within sight. My phone is dinging, telling me that the pumpkin spice latte is the drink of the day. Fuck off. I'm not even in the parking lot. I'm not even in the building. How do they know? How do they know I'm there? Maybe I got the app. Maybe I should have got the app. Or maybe I appreciate that. Like, wow, they're talking to me. I'm not even there. I'm going to go see them. I miss them. Right? Something. It didn't cost much. Do some Facebook advertising. Beauty of this, I could run an ad. Let's say that, let's say we live in Lake City. You know, we live in Lake City, about an hour and a half away, something like that. You think there's any Seminole shops, garnet and gold in Lake City? Say we're Florida State fans. No, there's maybe Hibbett Sports, but they got just as much Gator stuff and some Georgia stuff. I could, let's say I was trying to sell some of these. I could go on Facebook, I could pick Lake City, because I know there's nobody in Lake City to compete with. I could say they like Florida State, they like Lake City, they like football. I could get that in their feed. I could set a budget, $10 a day, $100 a day. Once I get to that budget, it stops. If they ordered, if I made my money, I might do it again. If it didn't work, I'd say no one in Lake City cares. Go to another place, try it again. I could keep going surgically. I could change your focus. Well, maybe I try the basketball. Man, for some reason, the basketball people, they buy it. Football people, they don't buy it. Who knows? Maybe they buy Jacksonville stuff. Yeah. Does anybody buy Jacksonville stuff? I guess now they do. They got a bunch of Florida State guys. Okay, so lastly, here, this Amazon thing. You want to get on Amazon? Cool. We can run an ad. If we had a new product, is there any chance at a CVS we would ever be next to Crest and anything? We're not even going to be in the store. Let's face it. We get something, we go see CVS, it's going to be real tough. You can get a chance. We get on Amazon, we can run an ad, we can be right next to them. But you got to pay a few dollars. We set a budget. As soon as we spend our budget, we'll disappear. We'll be right there. We'll have that proximity, have a chance to. All right. So, branding.